Shop smart, shop S-smart.
What's going on? DeathMetalHero is muted. So,
what's up, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of New Book Who Dis. I'm your host, DeathMetalHero, and with me is Rob Hunter. And man, we've been fighting with the internet and my computer and scheduling, and yeah, it's It's been an interesting time, but we are here, and we're gonna talk about this book, man. This awesome book. I mean, it just every time I see a new image of it, man, it looks better and better. It's gonna be fun, dude. And I mean, looking at the artwork, it looks like you're having fun, man.
I am a big retard when I look at the artwork because I keep making it more complicated. But the more complicated I make it, the more fun I'm having. Literally, I've been in comics for almost 3 years, and to be able to like do my own book, I want to like give it like 150%, and that's what's showing in the pages. Like I'm just like, I started messing around with markers, gray markers, and then all of a sudden, boom. They're like a process in the artwork now. Like I literally went from like, oh, let me add some tone here and there, and now I'm just like, it's pencils, markers, inks, and I'm just like, I'll look at like, what did I do to myself? But at the same time, I'm like, I just listened to a interview, and actually I was on Pontificators, and Art was talking about Rob Liefeld, and Rob Liefeld, when he broke into comics, he was telling Art, you gotta produce, you gotta do pages, you gotta do as many pages as possible so you can make as much money as possible while keeping the quality up. And I'm listening to Art tell that story, and I'm like, oh, I'm doing the exact opposite. And I always have. I have since the beginning. Like even as an anchor, it's always like, how much can I put in every page? Because I always felt like every page I'm competing with everyone else. And it's changed, man. Nothing's changed. It's exactly the same thing now.
Well, I mean, that's the beauty of independent comic, though, right? You get to you get to use the wealth of your experience, and you get to create the book that you want to create. You really get to lean into your own style. You get to do your own thing, man. I see that as a net gain. I mean, yes, you are making a lot of extra work for yourself. But in my opinion, that putting your all into it and just like everything in the kitchen sink that you know how to do to make amazing artwork, putting that all in, that to me is a net positive for your readers, for the people that are going to pick up the book, because they get this special experience, this unique version of your artwork. I mean, obviously there's a time cost ratio, obviously, that you got to take into account. But I mean, if you're having fun and it's not, completely killing your deadline, then, do it, man. Add all that fun extra stuff that's going to make those, because you're doing traditional stuff, right? You're a traditional anchor. Yeah. So having that original artwork, dude, and being able to put that up on the campaign, possibly. I mean, I don't know if you've noticed this, but people around here like original artwork, especially pages that have been in a book that has been published. So
it's funny because I just did Narwhal's show. And he just said the same thing. He's like, as we're going through the campaign, he's like, man, he goes, you gonna put some of those pages up? And I noticed that on crap, I've already forgot the character that kind of looks like Pat, but he's all in the girl's
Crimstone.
mind. Yes, Crimstone.
Yeah, Crimstone. Yeah. By the Diaz brothers.
Yeah, that thing is cool. And I noticed that they did the same thing. And I'm like, oh, because that was the one thing I'm like, how can I show pages of a, you know, how can I show a bunch of pages to try to sell them while the campaign's going on? And then I saw how they did it, and they're like, no, first come, first serve. You're buying interior pages. You're buying a splash. The first person who signs up gets to pick from them when all the artwork's done. And I'm like, oh, that's a great, you know, it never even occurred to me. Yeah.
And that way, you know, people that really want the pages, they get them, you know, because if you're really after that original artwork, you know, you'll go for it, you know. Let's go ahead and say hi to the chat. We got Flying Feline. Skull Beautiful. Good to see you. Thank you for coming to hang out.
Hello.
And let's see. She says my mic was brassy. Hopefully I fixed it. For some reason my regular mic. So what you should have heard when I first said hello was, welcome everyone to another episode of New Book Who Dis. That's what it should have sounded like. Yeah. So I always gotta remember to check my mic before I start, because it seems whenever I close Chrome or StreamYard, it's like, yep, we're gonna reset all your settings.
Oh,
so
I went from Narwhal show to here, and I had to log back into YouTube. Like I literally password and had to do the send it to my phone. So then I'm running through the house looking for my phone. I'm like, I was just there. What are you guys doing to me?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I don't know. I don't know if it's like the cookies or whatever that they install, but it's just not. It doesn't want to stay.
Yeah. So I feel your pain, and I have a voice thing that I keep playing around with, and that thing really messes with the audio stuff.
It can. I mean, it can. I got this little what is it? It's a soundboard is what it is. So I've got my XLR mic going into it and everything like that. I mean, I got this thing for like $40 on Wish like a couple of years ago. And it's been great, man. It's been great. I've definitely gotten my money's worth out of it.
Oh yeah, that's awesome.
I didn't expect it to work at all, but yeah, it works pretty well. What's up, Christopher Bouchard? Welcome, sir. Thanks for coming to hang out. We got Gordon Goodbrother. No raid, just cyberstalking Rob today, I guess.
Hey,
soft cyberstalking, I should say.
No problem. You can cyberstalk me all you want. I don't care. You know, that isn't that kind of the point of doing all the live streaming and all that stuff is to to show people,
cyberstalking, building an audience, picking up cyberstalkers, building an audience, same, but different, but still same.
Like here's my book. I'm excited about my book. Hopefully you see that I'm excited about the book, and I'm not a complete potato or a complete douchebag. So maybe you'll pick up the book, because I kind of know now the people who don't do that type of stuff. You're like, oh, they have no personality whatsoever. That's why you'll never see them online. Yeah. You'll never see them or their personality is really weird. Like,
well, I mean, even really weird is fine, but trying to learning to be personable and to be able to handle whatever the chat may throw at you. I've seen people go on live streams, and there will be approved questions for certain approved questions if there's somebody on the stream, but they won't allow the live chat to interact. You know what I mean?
That's weird.
Yeah, they kind of turn off comments, or they mute the chat or whatever, and they only take approved comments. And it's like, no, that's not how to build a connection with your audience. That's not how to build a real back and forth communication with your audience. That's just saying, I'm here to do this, and we're going to do whatever we want, and you're just going to either lap it up or not. And it's just like, okay, I would rather have a back and forth. I'd rather talk to the audience.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
it's a gray area, says Gordon Goodbrother. The cyber stalking versus building an audience. What's up, Rick Sailor? Good to see you, dude. Welcome.
I do the same thing though. I pop into chats and say hi to people, and then how is it any different? I'm curious what people's shows are doing, and honestly, what chat thinks of some of the things. I mean, part of my campaign, the way I set my campaign was because I read some of the major complaints about crowdfunding. And I'm
Yeah.
like, because I'm new to all this, and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, that's a valid point.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You know, so
I mean, there are people that have been doing this the crowdfunding bit for a long while. They've gone through the pitfalls. They've had the ups and downs. They've had people upset with them for being late. The best thing we can do is to learn from those mistakes, so we can hopefully go on to make different mistakes. So we can learn from those.
That's what I'm here to do, man. Make all brand new mistakes.
Yeah, I mean, that's progress, right? That's moving forward.
Yeah.
Learn from those mistakes. Do what works, and then figure out other things. Sometimes when doing this crowdfunding thing, there's often a good bit of trailblazing that needs to be done, just because there really is no specific guideline for this. I mean, you kind of got to figure out what works for you. Now, the PDF that Replicator Rob put together about putting a crowdfunding campaign together. That's a great little packet
I read
to
it.
read.
Yes.
Got a lot of great info in there, and I'm glad that people constantly pick that up and they read that. And looking at what has succeeded before. I mean, look at Brian Polito with Coffin Comics. Like, he started with one Lady Death campaign, and that did like $40K, and he reinvested that and did another one, and slowly built up, and now he's got a brand new comic company, doing what he did with Chaos, but smarter. He's building it back up, and he's the OG of this crowdfunding shit. He's been doing this for a long time. And he does four campaigns a year. Each one, I think, makes like a $500,000.
Nice.
Yeah,
nice.
$250,000, something like that. He makes bank, but it bankrolls his company.
Yeah, and it's the more you make, it's not necessarily it's not about how much money you're making. It means you're getting your product, what you think is cool and fun and entertaining,
that's right,
to more and more people. And I think some people they kind of forget that. They think, oh, they're doing this for the money. They're doing that. Like if me personally, if I got into comic books for the money, I wouldn't have got into comic books for the money, because it doesn't work out like that. And two, I would have been an inker doing 3 to 4 pages a day, not going, oh man, how can I make this one page better? And have my editors on my ass going, hey, we wanted you done Friday and you were done Monday. And I'm like, really?
Yeah, but that page is badass, yo.
Yeah, like what's the difference? Like, the colorist only can color so many pages over the weekend anyways. Like, you wanted, so I remember just going like, either you appreciate all the extra hard work I'm putting into just this one project, or you don't, and unfortunately corporate comics are like that, from what I understand. It's a sad thing. Because I mean, you're new to the CG scene, the independent crowdfunding scene, but I mean, you've been working in comics for a long time now, right? Oh, dude, I got the scars. I got the scars. I got the scars. I started at Marvel.
What's up? Stuff. Good to see you, man.
I went Marvel. Let's see. I always forget the timeline now, but Marvel, CrossGen, Dark Horse, Top Cow, DC. The last DC, and then a couple of years at Phenom Comics, and now I am self-publishing. So
hell yeah, dude, that's awesome.
And, I try to learn. At each company I've worked for, and
emotional damage.
Oh, it's I always explain it to people as that the comic book industry, it's a roller coaster. You'll be like, oh my god, like there's times at DC where I'm like, I got to ink a Jim Lee page, like
nice, things
are never gonna get better, and then it'd be like, things have never been worse, and then you'd be like, oh, they've never been better. Like, it would, dude. It's comic books are they are crazy. Like, if you don't adapt and you don't, people told me like, well, dude, now you're on YouTube and online, you better have a thick skin, otherwise. I'm just like, I thought we all went to high school, so we should all have 6 kids from going to high school and getting ripped apart. So when people rip apart me on YouTube, or laugh at me, or point out parts of clips and stuff, I'm just like, well, that means they were watching.
Hey, at least you're paying attention. Shit.
Exactly. Yeah. The newest thing is someone noticed that I let my cat drink out of my my cup.
I saw that.
I'm like, yeah, I do. It's like I'm bottle feeding the little babies, except for it's it's a cup instead of a bottle.
Right.
And I'm like, yeah. It's kind of just like, it's kind of funny that was Pepsi, so he actually didn't drink out of it. But
Cat's like,
water,
no, I'm good. Don't want the Pepsi.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What's up,
if
Jimmy?
It's water, dude. He'll be drinking for 5 minutes. I kind of forget that I'm holding my cup in a position, and he's been there. He's just drinking away like, oh, this is good water. It's just a lot colder than the water that's in the fountain. I'm like, dude, you have water that's filtered nonstop.
Why are you drinking out of my cup? Come on now.
Exactly.
What's up, Jimmy? He says, hola, amigos. Jimmy, go night night. Dude, aren't you like, isn't it like 6 p.m. there? Don't be getting all early bird special on us now, Jimmy. I mean, if you've been up all day, or if you've been you got up early, I understand it, man. Get sleep when you can.
He's been live streaming a lot, so he might be putting in a lot of late nights trying to get stuff done.
Been hitting it hard because Dragon Rage is live as well. See, Flying Feline doesn't have a problem, and there's a problem with that. Cat will cat.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. Well, my cats are all indoor cats, so
good to see.
They're not coming in with half-eaten mouses and stuff. So
yeah. What's up, Luke Stone? See, that's the light side, Luke. I'm the dark side, Luke. That's the light side, Luke. That's good peeps right there. Yeah.
Very nice.
That's my dude there. Yeah, he's good peeps. Be having him on the show here soon. Now that I've gotten moved as well.
Cool.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I think it's funny is you've surrounded yourself in the same cubbyhole feel, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you're just as compact as before. Right?
Well, actually, I'm more compact than before because I was kind of like in a hallway type thing with the library, and now I've got bookshelf here, I've got shelf behind me. In this room, I have managed to fit 24 short boxes and 15 long boxes, a 6-foot wide table, a 4-foot by 3-foot drafting table that I use as This is basically a studio that just happens to have a bed in it right over there that I can crash on. So yeah, this is going to be production central for everything Death Metal Hero for the next couple of years.
Nice. Yep. That's cool.
Yeah, I mean, and the funny thing about moving is you find a bunch of stuff that hey, I forgot I had this, and this is not really useful to my life now. So you can get rid of stuff. It helps to lighten the soul sometimes to get rid of things you don't need.
I don't want to mess with you at all, but I moved over and over again from apartment to apartment for the longest time, and I miss a lot of the stuff that like lighten the load and threw out.
Oh no! Don't tell me that. Don't say that, Rob. Damn it!
I had in the whole moving process, I broke the leg off my AT walker.
Oh,
and
I know.
I just threw it in the dumpster because it was such a crazy 3 days of moving, and I miss it.
I bet, man. Yeah, I mean, I have a pile of stuff that I have set aside that I don't need. Like I've got at least 3.5, maybe 4 long boxes full of comics that I'm going to get rid of. And I need to go through them and figure out what's in there so I can either, sell them in packs or give them away as channel things or whatever, whatever I'm going to do with them. But I still have this stuff and I can go through it, but a lot of this stuff I feel pretty certain I will be okay with not having,
Yeah, I can understand that. I've got a couple big container boxes of toys from when I used to collect toys.
Yeah.
And they have been sitting in the same container boxes since I moved into this new house in 2011.
Oh wow.
And I haven't, I think I opened them up once because I couldn't really remember what was in it. But they're sitting in the garage, and I'm in Florida, so that garage gets really warm.
Yeah,
so the blister pack I know that is broken off of the cardboard by now.
Oh.
The plastic, and because I think the first thing that happens with that type of heat is the glass, the glue. The glue gets up.
that heat definitely does not do the glue any favors. And also, I mean, the reason why you can't store like comics, like especially if they're bagged and boarded out in the garage, is because it'll get hot and then it'll cool off. It'll get hot, and then it'll create mildew. It'll mildew your books. So yeah. It's I hear that, man. You can, in those containers, you can get the little gel silica packets, like the desiccant, to keep the moisture out, and that does help. But it can also make plastic brittle, I've heard.
Oh,
because it dries. I mean, it literally dries out everything out. It sucks in every little bit of moisture. So it's a balancing thing. Let's see. What is she saying here? But who is the cool hand, Luke? Apparently, I am, according to
who can eat more eggs? Would that be who can eat the most hard-boiled eggs in one sitting?
I mean,
that's the cool hand, Luke.
I mean, I ate a steak and 3 eggs today for lunch.
For lunch, okay, that's pretty impressive. Yeah, so
it was a steak. It was a steak with sautéed mushrooms, 3 eggs, and then 2 pieces of garlic toast. That was my lunch.
Okay, so we have to hear from the other Luke to see if he can. He thinks he can put away more in one sitting. So, I mean, that's really the only thing I remember from that movie was the whole bet at that prison work camp thing where these try to eat more hard-boiled eggs.
Let's see. I haven't seen that movie in forever. That was one that I used to watch with my dad and my grandpa. Let's see. Good Stuff says the like button is free. Hit it and don't hit back. So smack that thing.
Oh yeah.
Appreciate it, Good Stuff. Thank you. Let's see. Oh yeah.
It just reminded me to hit that like button.
Yeah, appreciate that. Thank you. Let's see. We got a Leg Kick. What's going on, brother? Good to see you, Leg Kick. Thank you for coming to hang out, man. Gordon Goodbrother says, who can watch that blonde wash the truck without getting sent to the hot box? What?
Hot box.
Oh, it's funny. Wait, Tarks? Hey, Tarks, what's going on, man? Good to see you. Welcome. Good to see you. We'll have to add it to the list. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I appreciate it, Leg Kick. Good to see you, man. And I promise there will be a sing-along of Doom at some point soon. Currently, there's a lot of stuff being stored in my studio area where I do the sing-along of Doom. So, I'll get back out there eventually because, I mean, I miss drawing, I miss singing, I miss making videos. Like, this move is definitely definitely fucked up my schedule. But, we work through it, right? We work through it. Let's see. So before we jump into the campaign, what is the first comic you remember reading, Rob?
Oh man, I really don't. You know what I remember? I remember my brother and I when we were kids. Next to our bunk bed, we had this wooden box that was full of comic books. Either we would get when we would ask for them at the local grocery store.
Yeah.
We had a big stack of comics that were given to us that had no covers. I remember that where half the comic books you would come across were all the ones that with no covers because the drugstores and stuff would just throw them in the dumpster and someone would scoop them up out of the dumpster.
Well, it's because they got return. They got return credit for taking the covers off. Yep.
Yeah, rip the cover off, and then the books go in the dumpster, and then someone scoops them up. Yep. so it goes back into the wild. Like all those books that did get bought end up in the wild at like rubbish sales.
50-cent bin fodder, man.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, but G.I. Joe, I remember G.I. Joe #1.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah, I remember that. That was a big deal, and I think even before that, there was some random Avengers or whatever, I never realized there was like a big difference in the art until Mike Zeck's Punisher miniseries came out.
Right.
When I was a teenager, and that was where all of a sudden I was realizing, like, oh, these guys are all not equal. There's some of these guys draw better than others. Like the artwork is more appealing. Some of these guys, and that was the beginning. That was the beginning of realizing, like, oh yeah, and that was kind of the time period where a couple of years later, that's with Jim Lee and Art Adams and Rob Liefeld and Todd McFarlane and Weiss Bertasio.
Yeah, man, just this explosion of amazing talent.
Dude, when they talk about like golden age of comics, for me as a teenager, dude, I mean, if you like, my comic book store was like over an hour away. So if I was able, because I lived in the boonies of New York State. If I could visit a comic book store, now there's like, the local town had newsstands and stuff, but if we visited the comic book store like once every 6 months and go in there and like 3 back issues of Jim Lee stuff and 3 back issues of, Rob Liefeld's New Mutants. And I kind of missed the boat on Tom McFarlane's Amazing Spider-Man and his Hulk run, but I was right there because my brother and I were big X-Men fans. So we got to see the Jim Lee and the Portasio and all those guys. Dude, that's
Silvestri, Portasio, Lee, all these guys, man.
Dale Keown. Can you imagine that time period when, what was there, like 3 or 4 books you could not miss? You could not buy those books every week. Like when they talk about the golden age of for me, that was it for the golden age of comics. Was that? So like, dude, there's so many books. Bart Sears was out there.
Yep. The industry was riding high. And I think the reason for that is because all these people that you just mentioned, they grew up reading comics. They grew up reading the stuff that John Byrne was drawing. They grew up reading, Jim Starlin. They grew up reading all of this stuff that came before. Neil Adams, that influenced them. They grew up reading Bernie Wrightson stuff, Swamp Thing. So they were influenced by these guys, and they wanted to create that same feel that they had when they were growing up. They wanted that same excitement, that same adventure. And I feel like that's why we had such a boom of creativity and great artwork then. Unfortunately, corporate comics being what they are, fortunately or unfortunately, however you want to look at it, but that caused, those guys to, take off and go form Image. They're like, well, fuck you. We're the reason why these people are buying these books. Yes, they're legacy characters, but we breathe new life into these legacy characters because, we're doing something new and different with them visually. We're catching people's eyes, catching people's attention. And you notice after all those guys left Marvel and DC, Marvel especially tried to get other artists to draw like that, to continue that art style. And it didn't work. And unfortunately, as we progressed on in the 90s, we had the comics crash. So, there were a lot of factors when it comes to that. But, Flying Feline says, just noticed the Super Bat in Rob's background. Yeah, from Batman versus Superman.
Yeah, and it's funny. Most of the comic book stuff that I have, like if I have something on the wall, it's my wife bought me because I'm a fan of comic books.
Yeah.
I don't hang up any of my artwork. I sell most of my artwork.
That's awesome.
That's I don't know why, but that's just kind of who I am. Where dude, like I bought Jim Lee's, the big 11x17 black and white. I've cracked that open twice.
Which book is that?
It's the one that has all of his like Uncanny X-Men pages and stuff. The big omnibus. Yes. And there was one point when Amazon actually asked me, "Hey, this is going to be delayed. Do you still want it?" And I said, "Oh, well, it's kind of expensive." And I told my wife, and she goes, "But you never buy any comic book stuff." Yeah. And so I was like, "All right, I'll wait till it does ship." And I don't know, man. I think it's a little burnout. I spend so much time at the table and being
Right.
focused on the story and focused on the art that
Yeah.
when I push myself away from it, you know.
You're ready to
But,
go unplug and do something else.
Yeah,
I can
yeah,
understand that.
yeah,
I can
yeah.
understand that. I mean, back when back in 2006, 2007, from 2006 to 2008, I did a TV show called Last Wednesday, and we would go to conventions and interview, you know, writers, artists, and you know, kind of the same stuff I'm doing on YouTube now, but just in a different format, more of a TV show. So going to MegaCon one year, we got to talk to George Perez, and back then he had already stopped reading comics, you know, because he spent so much time making them, he just didn't have time. And I mean, you know, it's George Perez, you know, I can only imagine like the hours of work going into his pages. So, I mean, I can understand that, man. Obviously, I love having books all around me. I mean, I honestly, I think I prefer having books to artwork up on the walls. I mean, I have when I in my other place, I had movie posters up on the wall. I had my Frazetta Frost Giants print that I found. Like it's a print from the 70s, and I found it in the basement of a frat house I was staying in New Hampshire, along with a Star Wars Darth Vader poster. And it was just in this pile of stuff, and I was putting my stuff down in the basement, and I was like, "Hey, whose Star Wars poster is this over here? And this old sword and sorcery poster? Nobody's. That shit's been here for a long time. Okay. This Star Wars poster and this Conan poster is mine now. Understand? Mine now." And, yeah, it's been with me ever since. It's
nice.
Yeah, Conan versus the Frost Giants, and that was up in my hallway leading to the studio, and I'd see that every day going into the studio.
Sweet.
Artwork is supposed to be inspiring, you know. That's why I have these books around. I mean, especially that book, you know, that Frazetta book back there, just blows me away every time.
Well, but, when I was working at DC and getting all their books, I probably skimmed / read probably 60% of the books that they published.
Yeah.
You know, I would look through them, and I really did follow, because they were sending all those books to me anyways. I followed a lot of stuff and a lot of the artists, but man, in recent years, I would go to the comic book store and go, "Oh shit, this stuff is awful."
This stuff is awful. I worked in my local comic shop for the last 7 years, up until August of last year, and I watched the good stories become fewer and fewer and fewer, and I watched people's subscriptions decline and decline and decline. People that would get stacks of books started getting this stack, and then this stack, and then this stack, and then this stack, and then they were just gone because there was nothing to keep them coming back to the shop. And it was hard for me to actively recommend anything, because I too was buying less and less and less, and I was spending more and more over here. So what's the, you know, people would come in and be like, so what's good to read? And I was like, maybe that book and that book and that book. This is how I wanted to respond. Maybe these 3 books over here, and then, you know, everything. Just go look at Indiegogo. There's a lot of like really good indie comics online, and you can't say that because you're in a shop. You need to sell shit in order to keep the shop going. So,
yeah. Otherwise, there's no job. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. A lot of anime influenced artists. Which, hey, if someone loves anime, that's fantastic.
Sure.
But comic books don't move. You're just letting the colors do more of the heavy lifting. You know. I guess that's awesome when you're the colorist, but when you're the penciler and you're letting someone else do all that work, you know,
it should be a team effort all the way across the board. The beauty of comic books is that it is an amalgamation, or it is a gestalt of everything that is contributed to it, and it should be greater, you know, than the sum of its parts. You know, it is greater as a whole than the sum of its parts if it's done correctly.
Yeah, you're supposed to be the sprinter who hands the baton to the other guy on the team who's just as fast as you, or maybe you hand it to the last guy on the team who's the fastest. You know, and not, you know,
it's a team effort all the way through.
Yeah, not the cheapest artist that the company could find, or the fastest.
Oh my god! You know,
I can't pronounce this guy's last name. I'm pretty sure I know where you came from.
Yeah. And Tark says my lady and her mom keep buying me Batman toys. They picked up the full Hot Wheels sets. That's cool, man.
Ooh.
That means they love you and they want you to have cool stuff.
I have a lot of
Sentiment
Star
shoes.
Wars T-shirts because that's, as a comic book artist, and people know I'm a Star Wars fan. It's an easy gift grab.
Yeah. And listen, like Star Wars, in my opinion, like anything original trilogy, I'm good with. The sequels, not so much. I kind of disavow anything Disney Star Wars. Yeah. But and the prequels I watch. There are only 6 Star Wars movies. How about that? There's a lot of fan fiction otherwise, at least in my opinion, and the opinion of a lot of the customers I had at the comic shop.
I got to be honest, I can't watch any of them anymore. I can watch Rogue One when it's on, and I really feel
Rogue
like
One wasn't bad.
I kind of feel because they knew they were killing all the characters. It's almost like they're going, we don't have to worry about signing these guys up to big contracts. Like we can do interesting characters. They're going to be dead and we don't have to worry about it. And you're just like, I'm like, why is that such a more entertaining movie than all the other Star Wars movies?
Certain level of freedom that they didn't have with the other ones, I guess.
Did that movie, did they go through a couple of directors? Like, what a mess.
Just about every production that has been made called Star Wars since Disney took over has had all kinds of problems. Yeah.
I watched a YouTube cartoon that animated what the last Star Wars movie was supposed to be by the original guy.
By George Lucas?
No, the last Star Wars one we saw where Kylo and
oh god,
Rey
and Rian Johnson or and Christopher Bouchard. Yeah, I enjoyed the first season of Mando. Yeah, that was fun.
I still like it. I still like it. Yeah, I still like Mandalorian a lot. I think that's cool.
It is. This is actually Roger was one of the customers at the comic shop. I don't know if he still is, but yeah, that's my dude Roger. What's going on, dude? Good to see you, man.
Small world, man. Small world.
Yeah,
awesome.
one of the dudes I used to talk to all the time in the comic shop, man. It's good to see you, Roger.
That's cool.
Yeah. But it's the stories. I mean, the stories don't live up to the legacy of Star Wars, and my biggest complaint is you guys had an entire extended universe of novels to pull from, and what do? You take a dump in your hands and you smear it on the wall.
Yeah, it's that corporate mentality where the brand needs to be the most successful thing in the product. Not actually the product, it's the brand, the Disney, the Star Wars brand. I mean, you see Marvel does that, you can see DC does that, you can see how WWE has done that, where no wrestler will ever be as popular or as famous as Stone Cold or The Rock or even John Cena ever again. Like, they don't WWE first.
Yeah, no. They don't want you to do that. I mean, look at Marvel. As soon as when Image was formed, like they made sure that nobody ever becomes a superstar again. That wound cut deep.
Yeah, because you look at what McFarlane did. McFarlane, not only was he on Amazing Spider-Man, he was doing those Spider-Man covers. Yeah. Like, I mean, talk about promotion for an artist. That was before a million variant covers were coming out every month.
Yeah.
Like
that. Don't even get me started on the variant covers, man. I go off on that shit. Like I watched that shit increase over the years, and just what is it? Detective Comics 1000 had like literally 27 to 30 variant covers,
and most of them were shitty.
I know.
Well, what's with all these face covers? You look at some of these covers and you go, "That artist spent 2 hours."
It's easy and quick. I don't know. What's up, Jason? 76 days later, he says.
I've heard artists, editors will just commission artists to draw a bunch of covers, and then they just use them wherever they'll fit into the variant schemes.
Oh yeah. I was listening to Kelsey, Aaron Lepresti, and David Williams on Aaron's show Graybeards the other day. Kelsey was talking about like doing covers for some book, and it had it had a prestigious history. Like there were big names that had done covers for this, and the covers that they wanted from Kelsey just had absolutely nothing to do with the story whatsoever. He wanted a little bit of input. He wanted to know what the story was going on. Do we have a script for this? And they're like, oh no, we don't have a script. Just draw a cover. Just generic covers just to slap onto shit. And it don't work. That's not how comics work to their fullest.
It's not how it's supposed to be.
It's got to be a cohesive machine. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. Good to see you too. Miss our talks. Yeah, me too, man. Me too. I hope you're doing well, man. I hope you're doing well. So let's go ahead and take a look at the campaign because the last time you were here, it was just the sign up page.
Yes. Now it's live.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
It's alive. Yeah, man. So let's go ahead and take a look at the trailer. Let me know if you guys can hear this.
I can hear it.
Okay, good. Yeah, I can hear it.
I'm taking shots at the enemy. I'm gonna make it to the top, leave a legacy. If I got something to say, you better let me speak. Turn it up a new degree, bitch, you ain't seen anything. I pop off with the new rock, electronic, blow the sonic roof up. I'm too honest when I take a few shots. They're too toxic, need to take the noose off. And you cannot save me, 'cause I don't need saving. It's everything I've been chasing, all here for the taking. Don't wanna test your luck with me, I think I've had enough disease.
Nice, man.
My,
who did your trailer for you, or did you? Make
Jimmy Reyes did that.
Nice, dude.
And he added new, heavier music, which I thought I had changed out for YouTube, but maybe I didn't hit save or something. So I still actually have to add that trailer.
Oh, okay.
Replace
Cool.
that. I don't know why, but he's like, yeah, he goes, it needs heavier music. He goes, especially after hearing what Death Raider's about.
Yeah, man. I mean, I go by DeathMetalHero, so I mean, give me heavy, loud, and hard. That's how I like my music. But sometimes like the music that Shane Davis picked for his last trailer for Imperial.
Rex.
Yeah. That was perfect. Like it was perfect for the tone that he was trying to set, and that's it's all this whole creative thing. Like the trailer that you put together has to have the right tone to get people interested in the story, right? And it has to fit with the tone of your story. It's all this creative thing that comes together, and it's all these moving parts, but when it comes together with cohesion and clarity, it fucking works, man.
Well, it's really funny because Jimmy is the one when I sent him the artwork for the trailer, and he goes, "Oh, dude, so it's cyberpunk," and I'd never actually had thought about that. I knew I was having it a little bit in the future. But he saw the artwork I was doing. He goes, "Oh, so it's a cyberpunk story," and I'm like,
"Hell yeah, man, cyberpunk."
Oh yeah, great. Yeah. I guess it kind of is without. I didn't even really think about it. I just the elements that the setting and the elements I'm using. It is cyberpunk.
Yeah, man.
So,
I mean, to be fair, we're kind of like moving towards a cyberpunk reality as it is. So sooner or later, it's going to be like cyberpunk is just
today
setting, and that actually kind of like unnerves me a lot. Because I one of my other jobs is I work in tech. I do freelance tech support. So I mean, I keep my eyes on and my ears on tech and stuff like that. And it's just like, oh god, this is just horrifying. Like I don't want this. Tech is cool and all, but no, high tech, low life. Yeah, I'd rather have high tech, high life. Thank you very much. Some person says, guess I'll draw Wolverine making pancakes as the cover. You hired. Says the model in turn.
Seriously, as a goof cover, I'm surprised they haven't done Wolverine making pancakes.
Oh,
I mean,
somebody's listening right now, and you will see that in the next couple of months. You know, maybe on the next National Pancake Day or National Flapjack Day. Thank you, Feline, for dropping the link to Death Raider. Guys, go ahead and click that link so you can grab your copy. Appreciate you guys. Thank you, some person. All right, so 64 pages of sci-fi action adventure, but I saw 100 pages in the trailer. So that's a stretch goal.
Yep, the 100 pages is a stretch goal. Originally, I thought I wanted to do 100 pages right out of the gate, and everyone with more experience than me said, how about you do 64? Can you get your outline? Because for a while, I kind of fought it. They're like, well, can you get your outline to 64 pages and then just expand it to 100? Sure. You know, they're just thinking production, just thinking about the production of the book. And I was like, okay, and especially someone who, I'm brand new to this. I'm like, I better start listening to people when they give me this advice. So
I mean, we got some smart folks that have gone through this a little bit. So yeah,
they've got the experience. I don't. So why would I not listen to them? Well, I gotta listen to them.
Sometimes it takes a certain amount of intelligence to actually listen to the advice that has been given to you. Because a lot of times you run into people that are just like, yeah, I know everything. I'm just going to go with my plan because, I know everything. I'm fucking Shakespeare and, the greatest marketer in the world all rolled into one. And it's like, okay, have fun with that. Have fun with that hubris and let me know how that fall goes. But,
I've got stories. I mean, the reason I'm self-publishing now, is because I've had in my past people listening to me and then a year later not really listening so much and going, dude, I'm getting this from the horse's mouth. Why are you not following any of my advice? People have already gone down this road or telling me this is what you need to do. This is what you need to do. And I just get, so.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm trying to be better. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, learn from other people's mistakes. That's like we were saying earlier.
And their successes too. Like, hey, I knew coming into Comixgate and crowdfunding, I don't know anything about this. So when people say, hey, dude, maybe you should do this, I'm like, let me think about that for like an hour and go, that's a great idea. Yeah, exactly. That's a great idea.
You always got to do your own research. You got to see if what they, take what they've said. See if it fits with what you're doing, and then if it does, then roll with it. If it helps, it helps. Yeah.
Definitely.
And Pastmaster Dan says, "Don't wipe with wet paper." This good tip. This is a very good tip.
I appreciate that. I've made that mistake multiple times. Hopefully, I won't make it again.
And apparently, National Flapjack Day is next Tuesday, so awesome. We'll probably see a Wolverine making pancakes cover next Tuesday,
or Batman.
Yeah.
If it's not Wolvie, it'll be Batman making pancakes for Robin or Catwoman. Is Batman and Catwoman married or whatever? I don't know.
I have no fucking clue. I gave up on that whole nonsense a long time ago. Like I just and anybody that's watched my channel knows this, but fuck Tom King. He's a terrible fucking writer. The biggest hack in the goddamn industry. And cool. I have seen his scripts, and I have seen how little he actually does to get his $1,000 per fucking page. Tom King, you're a fucking
serious?
hack.
That's what he gets
He's
paid?
A fucking hack. Yeah. Lifting old song lyrics that are, in the public domain and using them, and then just making the artist do all the fucking heavy lifting and constructing the emotional resonance of the scene. Tom King, you're a fucking hack. So,
you mean the writers who just write they write one simple paragraph for the page and then move on and do that for the whole book?
Yeah.
And then they get all the credit when the penciler has pretty much constructed almost the entire story.
Yes. The whole reason why the page has any emotional resonance whatsoever. Yes, exactly.
It's not just Tom King who does that.
I'm sure, but that douchebag ruined Batman. Like, I had so many customers drop Batman because he cannot fucking write. Anyway,
Yeah.
we're not here to talk about Tom King and how terrible he is. We're here to talk about Death Raider and how badass this book is going to be. I mean, look at this artwork, y'all. Look at this. This shit is badass, man. So, at what age did you start drawing, Rob? Like, what age did you start working? You know, start drawing stuff like.
Well, I doodled.
Yeah.
As a kid.
Yeah.
But everybody does that.
Sure.
I was in engineering, and I realized I did not like math. I did not like math enough. I'm like, I thought I was going to be an engineer, and I'm like, I'm looking at these people, and I'm like, I don't know what the fuck is going on. They love this math. They love it. They're excited about engineering math problems, and I'm going, dude, don't give me a word problem. I've never seen this before. How am I supposed to do it? And they're like, my fellow students would be like, did you learn or do you just memorize? And I'm like, oh, I think I am a can you imagine the engineer I would have made where I'm just good at memorizing numbers and problems? They're like, dude, engineers are supposed to figure things out. And I'm like, oh, this is a problem I've never seen before. You're going to need someone else.
Yeah. No, this is beyond the scope of me. Oh man, yeah. I think you might have made the correct career choice there, my friend.
So yeah, I was in college, and I'm like, what's the only other thing I like besides science classes? And that was comic books. So I'm like, I guess I'm going to be a comic book artist. And everyone just kind of looked at me like, what the fuck? What?
What do you mean, comic book artist? Taking your life seriously or not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, you don't draw. You're in college and you haven't taken any art classes. I'm like, I don't care. So that's what I did, man. I just, I got lucky though, because I knew I was behind the curve. But dude, my first college art teacher, he fucking liked comics.
That's awesome. Hell yeah.
It was very cool. So he was a very positive, very supportive motivator, and my parents were awesome. My parents are like, excellent. We hate our jobs. If you're gonna like your job, go for it.
Hell yeah.
Be serious. Even after Kubert school, after I went for Kubert school for a year, I told my parents, I go, I don't know if I need to go back. I think I just need to grind it out here. And they're like, well, if you treat it like a job, go for it. I mean, they were just like, so I'd get up and just start drawing. I literally would, I would put together like 5 sample pages, pick the best 3, because Todd McFarlane said, pick your best 3 ink sample pages, and then mail them all out, and then go back to drawing. And every like month and a half, I would do samples again. They go back to drawing, and that's that's what I did. So
hell yeah, man. And I mean, and here you are now. Look at this. Oh, that's fucking cool, dude. I love the black and white.
That's my latest piece. That's my latest completely finished Death Raider piece. So when people look at like, hey, what? Because I know a lot of people are like, dude, he's an inker and now he's penciling and writing. What do people that haven't picked up the book, they're like, what are we supposed to expect? What do we, we're already, it's crowdfunding. We're already kind of risking.
I mean, because, inkers totally aren't artists themselves and totally can't fucking draw, which is that whole logic has never made any goddamn sense to me. Like,
yeah, but you also, people judge a lot of things by the experience they have.
Sure.
Well, I haven't seen him draw Batman, so why would I buy Death Raider? That kind of thought. So this is my newest piece of Death Raider artwork that's finished. And if you look at this versus my cover, people can see how much I've already improved just being able to focus on completing pages and just working on this stuff. So hopefully people will see that and go, oh, what's that mean for page 64? What's that mean?
I mean, that just means the next book is going to be even more dope than the first one.
No, it means every like 10 pages. Every 10 pages are better than the last 10 pages.
Which means by the end of the book, it's just you're going to be like, oh damn, I need more of this, is what the audience is going to be like. So
I hope so. I hope that the response will be like, dude, what the fuck's Death Raider 2? And I'll be like, I already got it outlined and I'm already working on it.
I'm working on it right now. And
wait, I'll be like, wait.
Feline. Art and science do play well together. I mean, Da Vinci Da Vinci was, you know, he was a scientist as well as, you know, an artist. I mean, he was mostly an artist and a painter, but, you know, all those different mechanical drawings and stuff like that, he was constantly studying, you know, science and biology and plants and all kinds of stuff. Yeah.
It's that abstract. A lot of artists can go a lot more abstract than the 001 guys. And if you can go abstract, when you can really think outside the box, especially if you are smart, you can, you know, because you need math to back that shit up. But
well, yeah, you got to, you gotta actually know the principles underlying. But being able to think outside the box and then try to find the underlying mathematical principles that go along with it, that's where you get magic. And yes, Past Master Dan says has a heavy metal feel to it.
I hope so. I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of heavy metal. And what it is that feel you're getting, that's the it's time to fuck shit up. That's it. Yeah. That's the feel. That's exactly what my character is. You know, that's what I'm really trying to portray with the book, because he's a special forces dude who, because of the circumstance of the story, not only does he need an armored suit to get around, because he gets his legs blown off on mission. Yeah. His team gets killed. He gets his legs blown off. It also makes him smarter. So he builds out the armor. So you take a guy who's a MARSOC Marine Raider, who's, you know, an alpha male. You take away his legs, you make him smart, and you put him on mission. You know, he's gonna fuck shit up, dude. I mean, that's his job. That's what he's always done, and that's really the basis of the character. Where I just, you know, it's like taking Batman, Wolverine, and Iron Man and fucking smashing them all together.
Yeah,
you know. So
hell yeah. Well, I mean, it's very much a human story, like a human overcoming story, because like you said, his legs were taken, and so he builds out this suit. You know, he isn't able to do what he needs to do, you know, physically, so he uses what he has, his smarts, his you know, knowledge, his intelligence, and builds this suit so he can continue doing the thing that he does. You know,
and everyone knows in the story when he's fucking getting worked on, when he's getting operated on because of his injuries, everybody sees something's going on. He can do stuff. So he's going to be a goddamn lab rat if he doesn't stay ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
And that's really the crux of the story, that it's man versus man versus machine. And it's a chase story where him and the co-star Anna have to stay ahead of everybody who wants to get a hold of him and, you know, lock him away and dissect his ass. So he's, you know, it's I want to keep the drama nice and high the whole time.
On the run story as well. I dig it.
Yeah.
Old Dirty Fatty says, great art is a display of knowledge to the world. Agreed.
I don't exactly know what that means at this moment because I'm full of Pepsi, but I like that.
Well, you know, great artists have to study. You know, you study the world, you see the world, and then you create a piece of artwork to show that knowledge of the world. You know,
the reflection of how you interpret it, how you see it.
Past Master Dan says, pissed off Iron Man.
In a lot of ways, yeah. That's exactly what it is. Yep. Pissed off Iron Man. And then, you know, there's all the, like, there's stretch goals. I explain some of the story. There's, you know, people seeing, you know, like that's page 1.
Dude, look, this is page 1, y'all. This is how the story kicks off. Look at this. Like, look at all the cool fucking texture in these pages. I love the black and white. So yeah, looking at the Massive Death over here. So there's 3 different covers here. Is one of these books going to be all black and white?
It's so
nice.
The book A is Death Raider Volume 1,
right,
with the cover that's colored.
Right.
Book B is the tune-up cover. That, you know, it's him like coming out of, you know, power storage or whatever you want to say.
Yeah, that's this cover right here.
Yes, and that actually will be colored. And the third book, that's black and white, because
the whole book is black and white.
The whole book is black and white because a lot of people wanted to, dude, I would get more emails about black and white than I did like is the book being colored. So that book is black and white. And in fact, not only is that book black and white, there is a PDF version.
Yeah.
That there's no lettering. It's
just the artwork.
It's called
nice,
stripped
dude.
because it's just the artwork.
Oh, that's awesome.
I'm a
sucker for black and white.
It makes me a little nervous, like to have something out there where there's no lettering. Like I'm like, boy, I better be really fucking clear with the storytelling.
Right? Okay. Well, if I don't have the letters as as kind of a little guideline or a crutch, I mean, yeah, no, that's the beauty of comic books, though, is that you should be able to tell what's going on and follow the story by just looking at the pages. Obviously you won't be able to tell what people are saying to one another, but you can get the broad strokes of the story just by following the images. That's what makes drawing comics kind of hard in some regards. You got to compose the shots. You got to figure out where things
you
go.
Have to establish. You have to establish. Hey, this is a new scene, and you better draw. You better draw that background. You better draw the scene. They better be existing in a real space, especially when there's no dialogue in this, or they'll be like, wait, what the fuck is going on? Now, I haven't decided because I really love sound effects. I love sound effects as it's like sound effects are part of the artwork. Sure. So I have not decided whether there's going to be no sound effects though.
Okay. I mean, are you adding in the sound effects digitally afterwards, or are they like on the board?
They will be that will be digital. Okay. I had a lettering class at the Cuber School, but I'm not confident enough for it to be a part of the originals.
So. Oh no, I hear you. I mean, and I am not always the best speller, so I would much prefer to be able to go back in and edit that. Yeah, so I totally understand that. Yeah, 100%, man.
Now, when Walt Simonson would do a sound effect that was a panel. Now that obviously, I really want to do that on a page. I haven't done
like a crack-a-coom or something like that.
Yes, where it's the shape of the panel. I really want to do one of those. Obviously, that will be part of the artwork because
I mean that you can't avoid that. But I mean, dude, I hear that. I love that stuff, and and little things like that. This is what I'm talking about. Little things like that are indicative of the fact that you've been reading comics for years. That this is part of your life. This is part of who you are, and it comes out in what you make. And I feel like that's one of the biggest problems with corporate comics now is that the people making this shit didn't grow up with comics. Now it's not a prerequisite, mind you, to make good comics, but it does seem to help because there is a quality there. There is an understanding. There is an intrinsic understanding of how comic books flow, how they work, these little subtle nuances that enhance the overall experience reading a comic book.
There's an influence
lacking now. Yep, 100%.
When you take over, if you're an editor and you're taking over a series, or you're taking over multiple books, and you have no opinion at all, because you don't even until a month ago, you didn't even know there was a DC Comics, but you graduated with you're a lit major, and now you're assistant editor or an editor.
Right.
You'll just look at something and go, I guess this is cool. And you're like, dude, no, that's not cool. Or that doesn't fit the flavor. Like when you look at, Batman was always, the best artist would always end up on Batman or Justice League.
Right.
I mean, that's just how it works. It's the pyramid scheme of when you are in comic books, you start out working on the shitty books that nobody wants to work on to prove that you can make a deadline and you get better and better. But you get to the top of the mountain and you're working on the big book. You're working on the books that everybody wants to read, whether it's Batman, it's Justice League, it's Wolverine, or it's X-Men. And when those rules no longer apply, I mean, that's how fans know it too. Fans they know where all the really good artists and all the really good writers get funneled to. And that's not how it is anymore, man.
I know.
Like you just look at it and you're just like, I know they make sure Ivan Rice stays on a big book, but that's the same way that they made sure David Finch stayed on the book because he was getting paid so much.
Yeah.
Like they had to, like Finch and at a convention said his favorite character was Lobo, and he wanted to work on Lobo. He'd love to do a Lobo thing. And Dan DiDio's there, and the look on Dan DiDio's face, because I looked over immediately, and to me, I'm like, they're paying Dave too much to do Lobo. The reason he jumped from
Lobo book would sell goddamn gangbusters.
Maybe. But if you keep Finch either jumping back and forth from Justice League to Batman, you know that you're going to cover your ass on what you're paying him. It's not going to be a big hole that eventually, because of trade paperback and hardcover sales, they eventually get the money back.
I can see that. I can totally see that. Yeah.
Because when Lobo made the big splash with Simon Beasley, nobody knew who he was yet. So he knew he was amazing.
The Biz back then, yeah.
Yeah, he was the guy doing the really weird Doom Patrol covers.
Yep.
So, I mean, they obviously, because he and that was pen and ink. The Lobo stuff was pen and ink. So it wasn't like they were investing a ton of money into this guy yet.
Yeah.
Whether it was Lobo or Simon. And then, as you know, then he does the Batman Judge Dredd project, and it's painted where obviously they're investing more money into Simon and they're investing more into the book itself. So I would love to have seen Lobo with Dave Finch drawing it. At least even dude, a 4-issue miniseries.
Seriously, 4-issue miniseries would be great, and just a little fucking quick, fun little thing. It's funny you mentioned Bisley starting out on Lobo and whatnot. I actually do a show called Do You Even Read with Ink Spots and Matt Barr, and we went. The last book that we did was Lobo: The Last Zarnian. Where he has to take the that first miniseries where he has to take the teacher who to the thing, and he can't kill her, but he goes on a fucking rampage while stuffing her in like a closet or something like that. It's just awesome stuff, man. Awesome stuff. But yeah, just a fun little like space romp like that with Dave Finch being able to do the artwork for that. Oh man, like hardcore comic book fans would have showed up in droves for that. Seriously.
Oh yeah.
Get Bisley to do some covers for it. Shit, man.
Dude, have you seen Finch's painted stuff?
Oh, dude, he is fantastic. Like he does the live streams with where he's working on his oil paintings and stuff. I'm just like, holy crap, dude, you're amazing. Like it's great to see him doing all kinds of stuff.
Well, you see that like, oh, he's in no hurry to go back to penciling a page a day. Why would he when you know that he's selling those oil paintings for bank anyways, and he's having
I was about to say, I mean, he's got his YouTube channel, he's got an audience built in. I mean, he could just sell those paintings and probably live like a king. I wouldn't be surprised if he's making just as much, maybe he's maybe not just as much just because, but the grind is completely being able to work on his own schedule and do what he wants when he wants. I mean, and Pastmaster Dan, I did not know Dave has study sheets up. I will have to go look for those.
Ooh, that's cool.
So I told you how I used to do a show called Last Wednesday. I actually interviewed Dave Finch before he was Dave Finch. Like he was working on Moon Knight, dude. Like he had just finished his run on Moon Knight, and I brought my books to get them signed, and I was I did my interview with him, and he's such a down to earth, cool individual. Like he's very chill. Dave, write your own check, Finch. Yeah, that actually plays into what I was about to say. So the next year, MegaCon 2007 is when I first interviewed Dave. MegaCon 2008, he's back, and I walk up to the table. I'm like, "Oh, dude, how's it feel to be a rock star now?" Because he was on X-Men at that point, and he was just blowing up everywhere. I mean, of course, because he's fucking talented as all hell. But yeah, even still, he is still a very humble dude. And I actually really enjoy listening to his live streams. Him and Meredith, they're funny. She's She cracks the whip on him. Oh, damn. Yeah, but I mean, you know, it's so cute watching them go back and forth, and it's like you can tell they've been together for a long time, you know, and it's cool to see the level of interaction between those two. I don't know, that's just me. Thank you, Feline. I appreciate that, darling.
Very cool. 2004. Dave made the mistake of having his cell phone number on LinkedIn.
Oh no!
So I called him, and it was. So I called him. He talked to me for like 20 minutes. He was very polite. Him and his wife were on the way somewhere. Yeah. And then, of course, at the end of the conversation, he goes, "How'd you get my phone number?" And I said, "Oh, dude, it's on LinkedIn." The very next day, it was not on LinkedIn anymore.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I can only imagine, like, if that got out to, like, more people, he'd have to change his number. He'd have to change his number. You know?
Yeah.
So this isn't like the old days when, you know, you could, like Fraga, Dan Fraga, you know, he went up to Kirby and he was like, "Hey, can I have your number?" And he would actually call Kirby and talk to him, you know? Kirby, it was cool. At least I think. It was Kirby. Yeah. But, you know, it's not like back in the old days, man. It's a different world we live in now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, dude, I'm looking at these black and white pages, and I mean, this looks fantastic, man. Look at the gray tones and stuff you're doing here. And this is all traditional, huh?
Yeah, it's like I said, it's pencil, it's gray markers. Oh, dude, I look at some of those panels, like I'm just like, why did I do that with the, you know?
Why did I do this to myself?
I literally will sit there with the page and be staring at, you know, like I'm like, oh, I gotta try to figure out how to do this texture with the markers. And I'm looking at like
Copic.
Yeah, no. I'm using I got like this is my fourth box.
Yeah,
I'm using the Prismacolors.
Oh, no kidding! All right.
Yeah, cool. I'm doing cool gray is what I've liked so far. And I'm it's getting expensive already.
Oh, I don't doubt it, man. I don't doubt it.
But you know, I'll have like 4 different photos up where I'm trying to mimic photo stuff with the markers. And I'm like,
that tone right, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, what am I doing?
Dude, I mean,
but then I look at the final piece. So
these 2 pages are just fucking gorgeous, man. Like I love the gray tone over here, and then this next panel is kind of just black and white. You know, I love the contrast. So this is just beautiful work, man.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah, dude, I'm excited for this. This looks like a fucking fun book, man. And oh wow, so watches? What?
Yeah, dude, I got merch.
Jewelry? Oh shit.
Dude, I've got merch to go along with it. Being my first campaign, I wanna give, just like the artwork, like I said, where I'm everything and the kitchen sink is going into the artwork. Same thing with the campaign, so that hit those stretch goals, because I want to bring monthly downloads to crowdfunders. Oh, wow. I mean, to be honest, that's what I want to do. That's my first stretch goal at 35,000 is once it goes in demand, people get a monthly chapter of the book, because I see that's the difference between Marvel, DC, and crowdfunding. Sure. When I read chat and people say they waited 2 years for a book, you know, I'm like, I want to be the guy who, we do a big campaign and we do a fun campaign. Yeah. And it's when that campaign goes in demand, fucking people are going, holy shit, dude, I got the first 10 pages. And then
I actually got to read something. Yeah, dude.
Yeah. And especially because I know that my work is unproven as a penciler and as a writer. So I want people to go, oh, look what this fucker can do. Look. Mm-hmm. Oh, he's not just an inker. Look at, you know, he's not just posting artwork on Twitter. So that, you know, I want to watch the in-demand numbers be, you know, sillier than when, you know, we were pushing the campaign every other day and stuff. So that's, you know, I imagine some people, Comixgater, like, what's this tard doing? He
Hey, man,
wants to bring monthly
again-
downloads to the fans.
Listen, dude,
What?
if you can find a way to feasibly do it without breaking your budget or taking up too much time, I think that's a fantastic thing to offer the people that have backed the book, because if they choose to, they can read it a little bit at a time, and it's kind of like getting a monthly book, and then obviously it's just digital, and then like they get the whole thing and they can actually sit down with the book in hand and read it.
Yes,
I think that's cool.
Well, I think that's what I wanted to. If I could have taken over Marvel and DC, that's what I would have done in Marvel and DC.
Right.
I would have done the same goddamn thing. There's no more monthly books. There's just the digital books, and you can get the trade paperbacks and you can get the hardcovers every 8 months.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm bringing. That's my big business idea to crowdfunding is, here's your monthly piece of Death Raider, and when the book is ready, boom, now it's at your house, waiting on your porch. So
Hell yeah, man. I mean, and see, like we were saying earlier, learn from the mistakes of other people, but this crowdfunding thing is about trying new things. We're finding a new paradigm for comics over here. We have built an alternative market over here to the mainstream, and we have the ability to try different things over here. We're we're smaller over here, but we're a lot more nimble. We can adjust on the fly. And we can still make fucking bank. I mean, look what Eric July did with Rippaverse. I mean, to me, that's an inspiration. Like, dude built his audience. He talked to his people. He hired good people to do the work that he needed done, and he then put it out. Yes, he sank a lot of his own money into that, getting it set up, but he invested in himself rather than, trying to, buy his way into things. He invested in himself. He hired people to help him produce the book. He hired the artists,
exactly.
He did the writing, came up with the concept. He hired people that knew what they were doing to help get his book out. And I think that's fucking smart, and it paid off for him. By the way, I wanted to roll back up to this page here just to show Feline's comment. Hello. Yep. Right. Yep. That's some gorgeous work here.
I had only shown Death Raider, in his suit.
Yeah.
Pages, and I'm like, freaking Anna's the co-star. I gotta show some hot shots.
Right.
I know my
Master Dan. Thanks for coming, buddy. Good to see you.
Take it easy, dude. So that was,
man.
And it's her intro. Death Raider's intro is beating the shit out of some robots. Her intro is waking up, get rolling out of bed.
Right.
But you also learn a lot about her because she's a spy. So she's not perfect, but that's it. The imperfect characters are the most interesting characters.
The imperfect characters are the human ones, the ones that people can relate to. Nobody likes a Mary Sue, and nobody wants to admit they don't like Mary Sue's, but nobody likes a fucking Mary Sue because you can't relate, because they never they never have to overcome anything. It's just handed to them. And that's,
you mean like all of Disney's newest characters in the Marvel? They're all perfect.
Ray, Mary Ray Skywalker, or Mary Ray Palpatine, actually, but whatever.
Yeah, like Tony Stark. Tony Stark's a drunk, and he's a womanizer.
I mean, even in the movies, they didn't touch so much on the drunk thing.
No.
Which I'm fine with. I mean, even though Demon in a Bottle is like one of the best, most like impactful Iron Man stories ever written, it changed the way people saw the character. It changed the way people, took the character. They took him a lot more seriously after that, because it was impactful for the character. And I understand why they probably shied away from that. I mean, it echoes a little too close to what Robert Downey Jr. went through in his real life. And I mean, that dude overcame a lot of shit.
Yeah, dude.
And to come back and be Iron Man and do that amazing, run. And in my opinion, the MCU kind of ended with Endgame. Like I just anything after that.
A lot of people are saying. Well, if you look at the first Iron Man movie and then you look at the progress of Tony Stark, how quickly his technologies and all the things he does progress, it shows you that before he became Iron Man, he really was just the hard party, and he's using 20% of his potential.
Yeah, that's what he's doing. Playboy. Yeah.
Look how easy this is. Yeah, look how easy this is for him. He was just making easy weapons that, he came up with the repulsor technology and he was just incorporating it into missiles and things like that. And then you look at, you stick him in a cave with no booze and no women, and now he's seeing there's more. He has a reason to live besides being a rich guy, because we see him, he's just gambling, he's gambling, just because it's different. So you see the progress of the character and him actually, becoming his full potential.
Yeah.
So
Black Jet says Demon in a Bottle based on Bob Layton's real life. I did not know that. I've met Bob Layton. I've hung out with Bob Layton. He's good peeps.
Dude, he's a super nice guy.
He's literally very cool.
End of MegaCon, unpacking my car up with all my shit, and he comes out and he's like, "Hey man, do you have room to go back to the hotel?" And I go, "One, I'm not in the same hotel you are, Bob, but I would drive you back to the hotel if I could."
Fucking day, dude. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna give you a ride back if I could. I go, "My car is completely stuffed full." Yeah. And he goes, "Oh, okay." And then he goes, "Do you need some help?" And I'm like,
that is
Bob
Layton, Bob dude. All over, man.
Yeah, I'm like, dude, you're Bob Layton. I go,
people.
I'm like, even if I needed help, man, go inside and find someone who can give you a ride back to the hotel. I'll be fine with because it's Florida, it's MegaCon, it's hot, it's humid. I'm fine with these throwing these comic books in this box and in my car and stuffing it. But I was the guy's awesome. The guy's fucking awesome.
He is indeed. Feline says, "So you mean I really would make a great comic book character?" Yes, you would. And you would.
There you go.
Yeah. Like, share, and subscribe. Appreciate that, Feline. Yeah, that Tesla pick is pretty fucking cool, man. With the Tesla coil and all the lightning going out. Holy shit! You're getting that tattooed on your back, dude. Only have about 3 hours left to finish. My God, man, that is a hell of a photo to have, or a hell of a picture to get tattooed on your back. Damn.
It's a famous photo, though. If you can have a photo tattooed on you, that's one of them.
Yeah, very, very true. I love Tesla. He's a very enigmatic character, and there's all kinds of stuff. Like if he had been allowed to create the stuff that he wanted to create, we would be living in a completely different world now. But
yes. And why is his book still classified?
Gee, I wonder.
All of his notes, all that shit that he all just disappeared. Just completely disappeared. Just went away.
Disappeared. Right. It disappeared into a fucking vault like at the end of Indiana Jones.
Mm-hmm.
Fuckers.
Yeah. Here's all the things that society doesn't need to know. Oh, you don't need to know this. This is for your own good. Yeah.
Fuck Edison. Edison was a thieving, lying piece of shit.
He was just a businessman.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, he literally sent thugs over to destroy Tesla's lab on multiple occasions. Yeah. All right, so Midnight is the black and white version. You can get that for $25. You can get cover B for $25 with that awesome black and white cover. So this cover is going to be black and white, but the interior is going to be color, and then this is all black and white.
Yes. Yep. That issue Midnight is all black and white.
Okay. Oh, and it's just a darkened title with no cover art. Okay.
Yeah. You know what? Part of me still wants a cover, you know what I mean? Like the artwork. But even I was on Andy Smith's show, and he's like, that with that logo, it does fit. It seems cool. It just seems like you'll know from across the room that's your black and white version of Death Raider. And I'm like, I know.
True.
I know.
I mean, there's also doing like, you could do like a matte cover and then have like an outline of Death Raider's head in like a glossy black ink on the top. So you turn the book and you see like that shimmer and you see his face. I don't know, something like that. But
you mean like the Jim Lee Death Blow cover? which is where I got the idea in the first place.
Oh,
With that the big face. Remember the face embossed?
Yeah.
It's like kind of 3D embossment.
Yeah.
I know.
I mean, that dude. See, these are the little things like that make comics fun, man. You know, these I don't know, these little printing techniques. It just adds a little like chef's kiss to certain things. I know they can be gimmicky if they're done all the time, but if it's done to enhance the mood, the feel, the tone, you know, it works. It fits in with the story. So.
Yeah, there's a bunch of ideas I have that, you know, if the campaign keeps chugging along where I don't even friggin' advertise it. People get their box and they're like, wait, what is this? You know, I want people to like go online and YouTube and go, oh, dude, check this out. Check out what Rob just like did with this book. Didn't advertise it, didn't say anything about it. And obviously, you know, I'll overprint a few copies of that so that I can add it to the next campaign. Like, I'll advertise the shit out of it then.
People always love catch-up tiers. Always. Especially if it's the second campaign. They like being able to catch up if they missed the first one.
Yeah.
This cover to the stripped PDF is pretty damn cool, man. Like, I dig that. Dude. Yeah.
That was me messing around. That was the first messing around with gray tones. The markers, and actually a bunch of that has because before I was waiting on the markers to show up from Amazon.
Yeah.
I just did it with a wash. So that's ink wash and stuff.
See, I actually kind of prefer ink wash. If I'm gonna do like black and white, gray, like I've got. Ouch! I just stabbed myself with my own quill. But yeah, see, I've got ink wash in a little jar and brushes. You know, this is probably my favorite brush to start ink washing with. You know, ow, god damn it! You ever cut yourself open with your own Hunt 102?
I have little tattoo from when my hand will just flick and I'll stab myself with my pen nib with ink in it. It's just where I have, you know, when I'm really tired and it just
Yep.
So I've got little 102 dots.
Yeah.
Dots.
Yeah. And it's I don't know if you can see that. I managed to literally just
I see that.
Open.
With the pen nib.
Oh yeah, this
Shit,
Hunt
dude.
102 was sticking up, and it was just up just enough to catch my arm and cut me open.
Oh,
yep. That was fun. That was fun.
Great.
Blackjack says Edison had patent office employees on his payroll. Yes, he did.
Oh,
and disappeared like a grade schooler. Oh Jesus, man. Yeah, too much. Yeah, but true. Yep. Good to see you, pal Ryder. Thanks for coming to hang out, man.
Well, you know,
Rob,
that
this book looks fantastic. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna just say, you know, the government, they have guys that just that's their job, is just to go through patent stuff. Just for you know, they're just flipping through all of it. You probably have a guy that works there who sends, hey, this thing's interesting. There's no way this guy's gonna get the funding for it. So this would be perfect for a black project under the government's, you know, unlimited budget.
Well, all I know is this. If you ever create an engine that runs on water, don't ever tell a single fucking person about it, because if you do, you will be dead within 3 fucking days afterwards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything that runs on anything that's not petroleum.
Oh, yeah. I mean, unless you're a multi-billionaire that can, you know, buy your own security force to keep your ass safe.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, Feline, that is not the first time I've done that, and it probably won't be the last time I do that either.
I haven't done that yet. I haven't sliced myself open with my pen nibs yet.
Well,
but I always
don't reach for something and like, you know,
I always make sure they're pointed down. I'll stab myself in the fingers grabbing, you know, on the art bin. I'll, you know.
Yeah.
No.
See, I've got this little. Where is it? Yeah. I've got this little square of wood. I'm gonna create like a little thing that I can just hang on my drawing board here, and I'll have shelves that have like the different things. That way I can have my nibs right here, and I can have them pointing down, so I never do that again. Hopefully.
You know, that's a great idea, and I've never thought of that. I ended up buying an attachment that doesn't actually fit my table, and then just fucking screwing it into my table. You know, the little plastic tray on the side.
Yes. I actually have a big long one of those down at the bottom of my my drawing board that's just kind of sitting there and wedged underneath it. And I had one on the side, and it just it never worked right. Nothing would ever stay in it. So I'm just gonna make something custom. Because I don't like having my ink down here at the bottom and then having to bring my nib up over the drawing to get the ink. I would rather have the ink up here and then bring across. That way I have less of an opportunity to drip on the piece that I'm working on, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, you know, it just having it right here so I can just go across, and then having something to set the nib in so that it doesn't, you know, stick up and attack me at random times. Yep. So, you know, the fun things and the dangers of being an artist. Yeah.
Yeah, you'd be surprised. Well, how about when they keep changing the formulas of your favorite ink or whiteout, because they're like, yeah, that stuff that causes cancer.
Yeah, well, I mean, I most of the time I use the Speedball, like the Speedball Super Black, like the India ink, and or Dr. P.H. Martin's. Those are the two inks that I usually work with, and thankfully they seem to be non-toxic. And the India ink seems to cover better, especially if you're like blacking out something. At least for me, you know, I can use my my Raphael number 3. That is my favorite inking brush. I've got a number 2, but the Raphael number 3 just seems to give me those varying line weights that I'm looking for, man. I love it. You know?
I use a number 1. It's a 8408 size 1, and I don't think they even make it anymore. Like last time I was at Dick Blick, they had to send me to its equivalent. It's because it's made from Russian sables. And because we can't buy anything from Russia anymore because they've deemed that now Russia is the bad guy. So
right. It's well, shit like that always fucks up, you know, pipelines of everything, you know.
And my ink was FW acrylic. It used to be way more black though. It used to be like I remember being when I was working on Iron Man, and people would be at a con looking at my artwork, and they're like, "Why is your artwork so dark and shiny?"
It's because of the ink I use.
Yeah, it was, and they're like nobody else, everyone else is it's doesn't, their artwork doesn't even look as good. And I was just like, well, I really like this ink. I started using it at Cuber School. It's not even the same though. They keep reformulating everything, probably because it was probably carcinogenic or something. I know my favorite whiteout, Pearl whiteout. Yeah. They had to change the formula on that like 20 years ago.
Oh shit!
Because it would cause cancer.
Oh,
I'm like, well, don't drink it. But
seriously, don't drink it. Don't put it all over your skin. Damn.
Well, some artists will use their mouth to make that tip. Brush to spit. I don't do that. I always put spit on my fingers and I roll my brush that way. But there's artists that would always use their mouth, and that's why they had to change the formula to a bunch of stuff like whiteout and inks, because people were ingesting it.
Oh, where I actually have like a little, what is it, the little container that has the brush cleaner and the brush stabilizer or whatever it is. Man, that stuff works a treat, dude. I mean, you scrub it. What I'll do is I'll get it, you know, nice and goopy with it, put some water in there, and I'll just kind of rub it around in my hand, and that'll get all the ink out of it. And you rinse it out in hot water, and then, you know, you rub it in the stuff again, and it literally will just do the exact same thing, but it actually has stuff to keep the hairs, you know, the hair fibers, you know, clean and pristine, and you know,
last longer.
I guess nutrients or whatever. It keeps the brush supple, and it keeps it more like new longer.
I burn out the tips. I burn out the tips on my brushes, so that by the time my brush is getting beat, is also the time where the tip is gone. So I'm not making the nice, perfect little tiny thin wispy line that I want.
Gotcha.
So, but that's just, you know, I'm also I'm not obsessive compulsive about stuff, but I'm constantly. I read somewhere that the more you rinse out your brush, the better, so you don't get the ink that goop and saturate the brush. So I do that all the time. It's part of my muscle memory. I'm not even thinking about it. I'm rinsing out the brush all the time. So
it's a good thing. It's a good thing to do. It's a good habit to get into.
Lead
poisoning.
Yeah.
A lot of artists died that way. I mean, shit, lead in paint is the reason why Van Gogh was fucking nuts and sliced off his own ear. You know?
Yeah, because that's how they made their paints with that stuff. Thank you,
Black
Blackjack.
and white looks insane. Who or what is Pixel Tool? The
Pixel is
to be amazing.
He's Alonzo. Is his first name Alonzo? Dude, I always just call him Pixel in Instagram when I have most of our messages are back and forth on Instagram. His coloring is it's kind of funny. Most of the guys he colors, because he still puts up samples on Instagram all the time, they're guys with no rendering but really heavy black in their work. So he's really good at doing that shiny type of molding, which works perfect for like the plasma blade effects and and the cyberpunk feel. So and there's been a couple times where I just I've just lightened things a little bit so we could see the rendering more on a piece. So he's awesome.
That is awesome, dude. And I agree. You gotta have a good colorist that will balance with these pencils, dude. This page 2, that's why I chose it for the thumbnail. It's just that is a badass image, dude. I love that. I love the perspective. I love the foreshortening. And it just looks like he is diving down to fucking kick ass.
Well, dude, that's my homage to Jim Lee 268, Captain America. When he's jumping at the ninjas, I wanted to, without taking the book and opening it up and looking at it specifically, I wanted by memory just try to have that kind of feel without mimicking it, because you've seen the Brazilian artists that will just literally
lift the same pose.
So that's my homage to that, because I remember just as a kid going, holy shit, when Captain America with his, because I mean Jim has even the foreshortening's even more with the Captain America is
right in your face. Yeah, man.
And he did it so well. I mean, that was what really set him apart when he was at Marvel, was that foreshortening he did. Well, I mean, those guys all saw what made John Byrne.
Yep.
And they're like, and they realized, well, we need to push it just a little more so that we can be the next John Byrne.
Get that hyperkinetic. Yeah, I hear you. What's up, Brian? Good to see you, man. Welcome, sir. Thank you for coming to hang out. But yeah, the way you described doing your homage, I think that's the way it should be done. You have that feeling, that impact that it made in your mind, and you're not looking at the original image. You're taking that feeling, and you kind of remember what the pose was and whatnot. That's, to me, the best kind of homage, just because you're not trying to specifically take that thing. You're trying to evoke the same feeling it gave you. I did a Frog G piece for Frog G, and it was an homage to Spider-Man 300, and I did my version of it. I didn't look at the cover. I knew that he was in kind of this pose, and I made it work for Frog G instead. And I just feel like those are the better kind of homages, because you're adding your own creativity to it on top of the what was there before. You give the feeling of, but you're doing your own unique take on it. Even my style, I remember how things that I like about Capullo, or I like about David Finch, and I like about Jim Lee, but I'm not gonna actually take the books and flip them open and just look at them and go, oh, this is exactly how he does. Yeah,
this is how he rendered this face, or this is the lighting he does. I don't want to do that. I just want to, I might flip through a Finch comic book, and then I start working.
Right.
But I don't want to just look at the panel and go, yeah, I'm doing the exact lighting and the exact render. I want to just kind of remember. I want to try to express the same feelings that I got looking through his stuff when I try to put my stuff together.
Absolutely. What's up, Matt Barr? Good to see you, brother. Thanks for coming to hang out,
dude. What's going on? He was one of the first guys who started sharing my stuff when I came back to Twitter.
Hell yeah.
I remember Matt just like, I'm like, oh, what's this retweet thing?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, with this whole social media thing and YouTube and all that, there's a lot to learn, take in, man. You know, it's good when you got good peeps to hang out with and do stuff with. And, you know, Matt's one of the good ones. Like I said, me, Matt, and Inkspots do a show called Do You Even Read? Where we go over comics and stuff. Yeah.
He's a cool dude. I thought he was doing his streaming from his kitchen because he has those awesome cupboard shelf things going on. Yeah. I remember seeing that, and I'm just, looking at him going, is he live streaming in the middle of the night from his kitchen?
Maybe.
No, Rob, he can afford wooden cupboards and shelves in the studio, unlike your plastic Walmart.
I mean, maybe the wooden shelves were already there, I don't know. I actually never asked him about that. Gordon Goodbrother says cool. Rob sounds like Narwhal's sane uncle. That's funny.
I will take that as a compliment. I appreciate it. I don't know how sane I am.
I guess that's the question now. Were the cabinets there, or did you put the cabinets in for the?
He told me, and I don't remember. I think he put them in.
That's awesome.
I'm not sure.
Hey man, I am all about shelves. Obviously, I love having shelves to put books on. More shelves means more books.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Yep. That's what everybody asked me when I started getting all DC stuff. They're like, are you going to now just shelve them up and have all these shelves with all the trade paperbacks and hardcovers?
My office is owned by an accountant. They were here.
That's right. He told me that.
Awesome, dude.
Yeah.
I mean,
it still looks so cool. It's an awesome looking studio.
Yeah, man. Again, I'm very partial to bookshelves and books. So, I mean, my pa's a man of culture.
I gave all my stuff away when people bought prints. So I gave all those trade paperback and hardcovers away. I thought it would be cool to shelve them, but I'm like, I'd rather just give them back to the people that are fans of my stuff.
Oh yeah, I mean, if it's your own stuff, I mean, I've got copies of I did a variant cover for a local comic company here, and I've got copies of those, but I don't need to have a lot of them. Just something to remember, like, hey, this is cool, little something.
Yep. Only thing I kept every version of Jim Lee's Batman and Justice League, because DC printed a lot of different versions. There's a pencil version, a hardcover. There's a million different versions of those. I kept every single one of those, and I kept all the Finch stuff too. Those two guys.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that. Yeah. Let's see. Blackjack backer number 30. Very rarely do I buy black and white. I backed the color book. Backer 30.
Cool. Wow.
Yeah, man.
That's awesome.
So, I mean, look at the massive death here, you guys. You got covers A, B, and the Midnight cover, as well as all three of the PDFs.
Which means they get the stripped version too. So that not only they'll get the black and white no lettering, so they get to see it in all its glory.
Hell yeah, man! Like this book looks like it's going to be fantastic, dude. I'm excited to see people's reaction to it. I'm excited to see it. Yeah.
You should see some of the latest pages.
Oh, I can only imagine, man. I can only imagine.
Because I've been staring at the ones I put online, and I'm like, everyone's gonna think I'm just drawing splash pages.
Right.
I mean, there's the Anna panels, but I'm like, so I'm like, I gotta start. I'm like, as I'm like working on the story, I'm like, oh, wait till you see these fucking. So, and I'm like, oh, dude, wait, you guys, wait till you see some of this other stuff that's happening in the book. I haven't even gotten to the soldier scenes yet. Those are going to be, I have those. I already laid those out. Those fucking, because that's the cult. That's the crutch of the beginning of the story, the origin story. Because it's him and his team. Don't tell somebody in a comic book when you can show them. So I show them.
Yes.
Why these guys are badass, and then I introduce the team that fucks them over.
Yeah,
it just fucking runs through them. So you know, it's one of those, you know, one up. Every you know, like one guy online said, he goes, dude, that Comixgate character, he is one badass mofo. And I go, and he's the hero. I go, wait till you see the villains.
Yeah.
You know, I'm constantly trying to, even in this issue, just one up this book. Everybody, you know, I love to, from a writing and from an artistic standpoint, I love to paint myself in a fucking corner and try to figure out how to get out of it. You know, because you read a lot of stuff where you're just like, I know where this is going. This guy's not gonna, he's not, you know, there's nothing clever. It's paint by the numbers, you know, A, B, C, and D, we're out, you know, end of the story. Fuck that, dude. I want to sit there and go, I want to agonize for 2 days going, what the fuck am I going to do? Why did I do that? I already drew the page. I can't change it now. No, I already spent 20 hours on the page. So,
I mean, that definitely gets the creative gears turning, and it makes you think around corners. You know, what's up, Edwin? Good to see you, man. Thanks for coming to hang out, dude.
Dude.
Rob's trying to say that's the hot shit. Hell yeah! I mean, this whole book is going to be hot, man. Just look at the artwork. You know,
I
obviously, Rob is this means something to him. You know, it's a story that's near and dear to him, and he's been working. When did you come up with the idea for Death Raider? Like, how long have you had this character kicking around in your head?
I actually, I pitched him to my my last publisher, and at that point, he was just Raider, and I hadn't even designed the big harness thing yet.
Right.
I originally wanted it. Well, really, what it is it's I really like the Batman utility belt idea,
right?
But Batman almost never uses the fucking utility belt.
I mean, so not anymore, anyway.
Yeah. So I wanted a character where he's got a utility belt, but it's kind of like off his shoulder,
kind of like a bandolier.
Yeah, exactly. And that's how I started the idea. And when I originally pitched the idea, it was more. I came up with them because I thought either Bart Sears or Mel Ruby would draw the book, and it was going to just be a superhero book, a straightforward superhero book. But you know, the publisher passed, so then I just started really just kind of grinding out, like, I guess I'm going to draw it.
Yeah.
And how am I going to do it? And how, you know, like now I don't have someone who, you know, a professional artist that's going to just, you know, like, oh, well, you know, I see what you're trying to do, Rob, but let me just, you know, tweak it. Now I'm the one who's like, no, I gotta come up. I gotta design it. I gotta figure it all out. And so yeah, that his power harness, it's not just power in the suit, dude. There's fucking smoke grenade. Cause I mean, he's a military dude.
Yeah. He's going to have gear with him. Yeah. He's used to having, used to being kitted out and ready to fuck shit up. Yeah.
Yeah. Time to fuck shit up. So that's what his harness is, man. It's full of gear.
Hell yeah, man.
I love that. I love that idea. I always loved that idea in Batman. I always liked that with Iron Man. Iron Man always had the different little gimmicks, even though he wouldn't always use them in the movies. Yeah. I want like always something else to show. Mm-hmm. A new little gimmick, a new little idea. You know, that's my favorite James Bond movies are the James Bond movies with lots of stuff.
The spy gear. Yeah, man.
Yeah, I love that.
It's fun. It adds a level of fantastic to it, you know, because in these stories you can use technology that we may not necessarily have, but it's, you know, it's like a few years removed from what we've got currently, so you can extrapolate. That's why these near future stories are a lot of fun. You know, you can play around with that kind of stuff.
Oh, and I interject an outside influence into the technology too. So they lets me hyper the technology a little bit, you know,
man.
Because I thought about it, I'm like, well, my setting's 2032, so how am I going to get really robot-y, cool, cyberpunk-y? And I'm like, oh, okay. And I, you know, came up with that. I'm like, oh, you're being that's a cheat, Rob. I'm like, well, it's a little bit of a cheat, but I don't care. I don't care.
I mean, listen, if it works for the story, you know, sometimes you work with what you got, you know.
Yeah.
And if it fits the story, then, you know, then it works. You know,
Well,
as
it's
long
a
as the audience
major
is entertained,
element,
right?
yeah. It's a major element to the story, so it's not just like an easy fix. I don't like easy fixes. So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the easy fix is rarely the best fix.
No, it's the easiest. It's
Yeah.
usually the easy fix is what the editor said yes to. You know,
Yeah.
you know, or he said no to all the good ideas and he says yes to the easy one.
You know, I
Covers.
do graphic design as well. You know, I've
Mhm.
been doing graphic design for a long time, and you know, sometimes when doing graphic design for freelance clients, and you think that they're gonna pick like these good ideas, and then you just throw in this fucking awful idea because you know you need to have at least 3 or at least 5 to show the clients, and in fucking variably they pick the shittiest, dumbest design that you came up with, just slapdash, and you're like, what? Why that one? There's no subtlety to it. There's no nuance. There's no. I did this one really fucking quickly. It's not even supposed to. Ugh, why do you want that one? And then you've got to iterate on that, and you're just grumbling the whole time.
That's what every penciler said to me about covers. They said the same goddamn thing. If they pitched 4 different cover designs, the editor always picked the worst cover design.
Yeah.
And they'd just be like, oh, someone gave me a tip on, he said he would barely draw out the ideas he didn't want to draw.
Right.
And then he would only tighten up the one he wanted to do. And he said most of the time the editors would just pick that one because it was tighter. Like they actually could figure out what they were looking at.
Okay.
So that was
I can't tell what the rest of these are, so I'll go with this one here. I mean that.
And they didn't want to say that. They didn't.
Yeah.
That puts them on their back feet where they don't. It's like they don't know anything about art. Like I don't even know which characters these are. So he'd be like. So it was an easy cheat to get the one cover design he actually wanted to draw.
I mean, that's kind of banking on people not wanting to admit that they're wrong about something. So.
Oh well, that's the comic industry, dude. So that's almost like a 95% chance. That's not a gamble.
It's unfortunate. It's an unfortunate truth, but yeah, you ain't wrong, homie.
They call
Black Check says Iron Man has always been his favorite character, thanks to George Tuska. Yeah.
Oh, dude. I had a subscription to Iron Man, and my brother had the Marvel subscription to Uncanny X-Men.
Yeah. Gordon Goodbrother says Rob is from the Kirby school of punish yourself with some pages.
Yeah. I will readily admit that. Art T-Bear picks on me all the time for never learning the lesson of having a retirement fund because I didn't do enough pages. He's like, you're supposed to make a good living when you do this as an inker. And I'm like, I can't compete with you. That's what I've.
Well, I mean, Art T-Bear was there when God said, "Let there be light." He flipped the damn switch. You know, he was there at the beginning of the industry. So
we learned. My style, I learned from him, from watching him. I learned it from watching.
He's so great. Yeah, I learned it from watching you.
So
you're too talented, Art. So he's picked all of this up, and now he's just going overboard with it. You know, technically, Art, this is all your fault.
Well, I said that to him once. I go, for me to compete with you, takes me 12 hours.
Right.
And he's like, he would just look at me and he'd be like, you're not supposed to spend 12 hours on a page. And I'm like, as an inker, not as an inker. He goes, no. You can't juggle deadlines when you spend 12 hours on a page. And I'm like,
yeah.
I go, I never learned that lesson, Art. He would just look at me. He's like,
At least you're working on your own book now. At least, yes. And Gordon Goodbrother's heard of that trick. He might have even done it. That trick of only tightening up the one you want to do. So he understands that. And yes, Feline, that is life. Invariably, it's like Murphy's Law. It's this thing that you don't necessarily want to happen. That's usually the thing that will likely happen. Or there's a high probability. Yo, Aldous, what's going on, man? Good to see you, dude. Thanks for coming to hang out.
Hey, dude, what's up?
Yeah. Dude, this book looks fantastic. I'm
Thank you
very
very much.
excited about it. I'm excited for you, putting this book together. I think it's funny that a publisher that you pitched this to didn't want it, and so now you get to do your own thing with it. I think that's great. But yeah, we've been going for almost 2 hours now.
I know, dude.
Yeah. But dude, this has been a great conversation. I have enjoyed every bit of this conversation, talking about, the whole process, the entire spectrum. And this is the kind of interview that I like to do. It's not just about the books. Yes, we're here to make comic books, and we're here to, introduce people to new books and stuff like that. But it's also about the people. It's about talking to the artists, the creators behind these books, and getting to know them. At least that's the way I look at it. I want to talk to the people. I want to figure out where they're coming from artistic wise, what their influences are, the kind of the materials they use, the tools they use. So I've enjoyed this conversation immensely, man. Thank you for coming to hang out, dude.
Dude, I've had a lot of fun, man. I looked forward to this because I remember, I think this was one of the first shows I did with the when it was the sign up page.
Yeah,
we had fun. We had fun that time too, and I've had a blast, man, talking about stuff, talking about comics and everything, man. It's been great.
Well, and Tuesday nights, me, Jason, and Jimmy Reyes, we do topic lists. So I mean, you're more than welcome to come hang out and draw with us at any time, dude.
I saw that the other night. You guys were doing stuff.
Yeah, every Tuesday. Jason and I have been doing topic lists for a little over 2 years now, and the last episode was on Jimmy's channel, and that was the first one that we had Jimmy as one of the rotating hosts now. So
cool.
Yeah, man. But every Tuesday,
I have a hard time drawing and talking.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That's like every time someone says they're doing a draw stream, and I'm like, I can't do that. I know I can't communicate it at all when I'm trying to draw.
Oh, okay.
Especially when I've got all the photos out and everything. So
no, I totally understand that, man. Yeah. Sometimes it doesn't work with the creative process. And usually when one person is hosting, like next it's Jason, so he might not get to like draw. He'll be paying attention to the chat and whatnot. And then, obviously when it's my turn, I usually don't do traditional inks. I'll draw digitally, or I'll just pencil. That way, I don't have to worry about like interacting with the chat. And then, oh no, the ink has dried in my nib, and now I can't use it. Or my brush is now stiff as a board. So
yeah, you forgot to rinse it out. Yep.
Yeah. And yes, before topic lists on Tuesdays, Flying Feline has the happy hour hangout at 5 p.m. on her channel.
Oh, cool!
It's always a good time. Yeah, she's got trivia, and she makes different cocktails depending on what the theme of the day is. You can find the link to her channel in the description of this video, along with the link to go grab yourself a copy of Death Raider.
And strictly from a business perspective, go grab a copy or 10.
Right. I mean, hey, speaking of copy or 10, have you thought about putting together a retailer pack to try to sell to shops? I know some people have done it. I don't know how much success they've had, because shops are an interesting breed now.
I've seen a couple of campaigns where they do that, and I had one guy who said, "Hey man, I'm trying to order 3 of each book."
Yeah. And
so I just said, dude, just PayPal me, and I will save your email in the PayPal stuff with all the Indiegogo stuff, and when it comes time to ship, you'll get the books. And I even had email. I even asked him, I'm like, dude, do you want me to sign any of these books or anything? And I didn't hear back from him, so I'll just ask him again when the time comes, when the books are all printed up and stacked up in the corner of my house. And I'm like, holy shit.
I mean, listen, if that's the easiest way to do it, then do it.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of what we do over here. We've got we've got that nimbleness, we've got that flexibility to be able to do that kind of thing. So,
well, I imagine if I got that email a few times, I'd be like, oh, I need to do that. I need to set up a retailer pack. But so far it's just been the one person wanting to buy multiple, because I didn't even know you couldn't do that. I go, what is he talking about? And then I went on Indiegogo, and I'm like, oh, it really doesn't want you to buy more than one of each because it's still set up like it's all technology. So
that seems counterintuitive to making money.
Yeah.
But I mean,
I guess it's kind of part of how it's crowdfunding, not retail sales. Like I guess
but I mean, people leave their in-demands open for a long time and basically use it as an online store.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. Yeah, so
I
that
don't know.
doesn't. Yeah.
And once the book is made, I mean, you can have a different version on your website if you want. I mean, and it seems more and more people are moving to their own website. So
Yep.
I mean, something to think about and look into for the future, perhaps.
I appreciate that advice. I had looked into Shopify, doing a crowdfunding Shopify on my website at the same time. I just I ran out of time.
Yeah.
And so
man,
far,
this was a fun episode, man. There was a lot of good conversation. All this, please feel free to let me know what you thought of this episode. This was a good one, man. Always a good time talking to you, Rob. Thank you so much for coming, man.
It's been great. Hey, I've had a blast.
Chat, you guys rock. Thank you so much. Couldn't do this without you. We couldn't do the crowdfunding. We couldn't do these shows without you guys. So thank you. Hail the chat. You guys are fantastic. And remember, always
Shop smart, shop S-Mart.
That's awesome.